Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and we're up in the attic today and I thought we'd have a look at these. What we've got here are two vintage laptops, we can call them vintage laptops, and I paid 99p each for these on eBay, plus postage. I mean, you can't get away from the postage, but I actually paid 99p each for these. And this arrived a couple of days ago. This literally arrived a couple of hours ago. Both from the 1990s. This one from the start of the 1990s. This one from the end of the 1990s. Both Compaqs. And I'll go through the reasons why I've got these. Why if you're a bit handy with these old computers, why something like this can be a real boon and bonus to your collection. Why I bought that. We'll start with the Compaq Presario. Now this is a Compaq Presario 1200. It dates from probably around about 1998, 1999. It has, as far as I'm aware, it's an AMD Pro. I've not opened this up, I've not done anything to it yet. I can't power this one up at the moment, I'll show you why. And this is one of the things when you buy dirt cheap junk scrap laptops like this, you are going to have to be prepared to do a little bit of repair work on them. Anyway, I was saying it's about 98, 99 vintage. It's got an AMD, I believe, K62 processor, about 550 megahertz. I believe it has 64 meg of RAM actually built onto the motherboard, and I think you can upgrade that by another 128 to about 196 mega RAM total for this machine. I don't know what size hard drive it's got in it. I think these shipped with either the first generation had a 1GB hard drive, and I think the slightly later generation came with a 6GB hard drive. But I mean, that's irrelevant anyway, we can stick whatever we want in there. It's a standard 2.5-inch IDE hard drive. Yeah, I said, don't know a huge amount about this one. It was advertised on eBay, spares a repair, because the guy said he'd lost the power pack for it. It had been stuck in a cupboard for years. It was on for a 99p start, and I was the only bidder, so I won it for 99p. Like I said, it arrived today, and generally it's in quite nice condition. It doesn't appear to be that bashed about. There's some signs of wear and use on it. I think there's a little bit of mildewy kind of look to it here, so it may have been stored in like a cold attic, or perhaps a garage or a shed or something. It's a multimedia laptop, that's all you can really say about it. We've got some nice, they're actually JBL powered speakers on the front, about a 13-inch display, I think. I haven't got a measure out on it, I've got one up here, but it's about a 13-inch display. If I can get this working, my plan for this is to use it as my retro gaming laptop, because with a 500 megs processor, I think, yeah, it was designed to run Windows 98. Might even put MS-DOS 6.2 and Windows for Workgroups on it. I might downgrade it to Windows 95. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm going to use this for playing the likes of Doom, Doom 2, Quake, perhaps Duke 3D, stuff like that. I think Duke 3D should run quite nicely on a 500 megs AMD processor. So yeah, that's what basically I've bought it for. And the fact that it's got a 3.5-inch floppy drive in it. It's got PMCA slots. I'll go around the back. We've got our standards, we've got a nice serial out, parallel out, VGA out. It's got an onboard network on it. It's got a USB 1 port, which is handy. It's got a CD drive in it. Some cooling there. So it will, it should run quite nicely. It should run everything I need. Now, it has one fault with this, like I said, as it's arrived, and that is actually the power connector there. It's smashed. All I can presume is sometime in the past, this has taken a fall. It's had the power connector the power cord plugged into it there, and it's fallen like that, and it's actually smashed the power connector inside in there. I'm hoping that's the only fault with it. It could have killed the hard drive in if it's taken a fall like that, but frankly I don't really care. The 10 a penny 2.5 inch hard drive, so if the hard drive's dead in it, it's not a major issue. If we can repair the power connector there, I said we'll try powering it up, and we'll see what we can do with that. But I'll do a complete video on that, and perhaps doing a video showing the repair work to the power connector. So we'll stick that one away for now, and we'll have a look at the other laptop which I picked up a few days ago. Just be a bit careful because I've got it jury-rigged so I can show this one running. Now what we've got here, this is a Compaq LTE 286, and this dates from about between 1990 and 1991. This has got a bit of I've got a bit of soft spot for a laptop like this, because my very first laptop I ever got was of a similar vintage to this. It was actually even slightly older than this one. It was a Toshiba, and it had a XT processor. It was an XT class machine. Very, very similar appearance to this. Actually slightly bigger. It was a little bit chunkier than this. But I fancied a laptop from that era to play about with. I used to use that laptop when I was at school. It had WordPerfect 5.1 on it, and I used to use it for my coursework. Obviously it went by the wayside years ago, unfortunately. I think I flogged it at a car boot sale. But when I saw this on eBay, I put a pound bid on it and won it. Same story really with this one. The guy said he's had it for years. He's just dug it out and he can't find the power supply for it anymore. So he was selling it as seen, spares a repair. Like I said, I picked it up for £1. Now, I have managed to get this one to fire up. It has got issues. The standard issues that any computer of this era you're likely to find. And that's basically the CMOS battery inside it has died. It's gone. These this era of compact laptop, they don't have a BIOS setup like you'd find on a more modern computer. To enter BIOS setup to set the hard drive up and things, you actually have to load a setup disk, which I've just managed to get a copy of. I've got to write it to a 1.44 meg floppy or a 720k floppy, and then I can get into the setup routines on this computer, and I can perhaps try and get the hard drive working again. It spins up, but obviously because it's lost all its settings, it can't find the hard drive. I don't have a power supply for this one, obviously. Like I said, it came as the guy found it, he hadn't got the power supply for it. So for now, what I've done to run it, this is the battery out of it there, and basically what you've got there are 4 1.2 volt NiCad batteries, like D-size NiCad batteries. So that produces about 4.8 volts. So all I've done for the time being, I'll be careful showing you this because it is a bit ropey. It is literally just for testing purposes. I've got a couple of crocodile clips clipped onto the battery snap terminals in there. I ascertained by using a multimeter between the ground plane at the back and them terminals which one was the negative, which is the positive. And all I'm doing is I'm feeding 5 volts from a transformer like that. It's a 3 amp transformer, and I'm just feeding 5 volts into the battery terminals. So as far as the laptop's concerned, it's running on battery power. We will obviously, if I decide I want to keep this and use this laptop, I'll come up with something a little bit better than 2 wires hanging out the side of it to power it. But for now, it shows I can actually fire the thing up and show it you working. So we'll switch this on. Let's see if we can zoom you in a little bit so you can see the screen a bit better. And the screen, actually, amazingly, it's an LCD backlit CGA display on these. And you usually, when you get these, either the backlight's not working or you have lines out on the screen. They don't live very well after all these years. I mean, this is what, 20 odd year old. But this screen actually is in really quite nice condition. Let me just zoom you in onto the screen and you can perhaps see that that's just come up now. Or maybe you can make that out, but what we've got, let's try changing the contrast of the brightness. You can see that there. We've got 640k of RAM. Now it's come up with a 1790 disk I/O error. It's come up with a 167 RTC, which is real-time clock loss power. A 162 system. I don't think the hard drive is very well in this. A 162 system options not set, run setup. That's where I need that disk. Like I say, I will create that. For now, what I've done, that's an MS-DOS 6.2 startup disk. Stick that in the drive. We'll press F1. We should be able to get it to boot from floppy. There we go, starting MS-DOS. It's not the fastest of computers in the world. Like I say, it's only got a 286 processor, and I think it's probably running at about 12 megahertz. There we go, we're into DOS. Let's run Microsoft Diagnostics. It'll tell us basically what we've got. It's not the best diagnostics program in the world, but it comes free with MS-DOS 6.2, so we might as well use it. There we go, that's up and running. It's having a look at the system. I'm quite impressed with this display. Like I say, it's not VGA quality, but it's actually quite useful. It's quite readable. So anyway, it's telling us we've got a Compaq 286. It's only got 640k of memory, so there's no additional RAM in this one. I believe these can take up to 2 megabytes of memory, but it's a non-standard RAM expansion card they use. Yeah, I believe the hard drive's just actually failed in it. It seems to have just shut down. That's nothing. I'll sort that at a later date. But like I said, the computer itself does actually seem to be running. With no network, with no mouse. Obviously, it's just running off a DOS 6.2 boot disk. It's only showing up the OneDrive drive A because of obviously the BIOS settings, and now I have a feeling the hard drive has given up the ghost in it. It seems to have stopped spinning. Could be something else. That we'll see that when we actually get inside it. But yeah, as you can see, it's actually up and running. I'll shut that off now. I'll show you a quick look round the back. Oops, it is missing the little flap that should fit over here. Oh, you can see that. Oops, let's see if we can get the camera on it. There we go. It is missing, as you can see, the let's zoom that out again. There you go. It's missing the little flap from the back, but that's not the end of the world. That's the power connector, which is proprietary. I did actually think I might have a power supply for this, but it turns out it's for a slightly later model and they changed the power connector on it. But again, we've got serial, we've got parallel. I believe that's the expansion port for an external disk drive, which I don't have. And we have CGA graphic output there. I have a feeling that, I've been told, is for a tape backup drive, that little 3.5mm jack there. How much, whether that's true or not, I don't know, because I don't have a manual for this yet. But that's what we've got on the back of it. And I don't suppose this really has... This has actually got a... the later machine actually has a practical use for me. I can't really say this one has that much of a practical use, apart from playing some DOS games on, very basic DOS games. And this screen is not going to be good for moving graphics. What I did think possibly about using this for is running something like Star Commander, which is an MS-DOS program for transferring Commodore 64 disk images, disk files, between a PC and a Commodore 64 1540 disk drive. You make up a cable that plugs into the parallel port on an older computer, and the simpler cables to make generally work on the older computers, and there's the MS-DOS software is out there, so I may have a play with it and see if I can get it to run with Star Commander. I don't know. Like I said, it's one of them things. I picked it up for 99p. It's not broke the bank, and it's a interesting little curio. Anyway, I will do a full video on this, 'cause obviously we've now found out the hard drive's definitely not happy. We need to change the CMOS battery in it anyway, because that could be leaking all over the board in there. That could have caused all kinds of horrors in there, so I want to get that out sooner rather than later. And inspect the board, see what damage is being done. Come up with something to I'm not going to bother probably buying a new replacement power supply for this thing. It would cost too much to justify, really. Then again, I don't really want to go chopping the case about adding a connector to power it, so I was wondering whether I could do something with that. I don't know, whether gut it and put a power jack on the back or something, so you just plug that in to power the computer, which would mean that I don't modify the computer at all. I'll see about that in the future anyway. I think I've rambled on long enough in this video. Like I said, it was just a quick video, show you these two computers and show you what vintage laptops you can pick up for 99p. So I think I'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching and goodbye.